Um, Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, my people. Wherever you are in the world, that's what I have to say. Um, to greet in that different pattern. Uh, Today, we want to look at the impact of COVID-19 on business, on the individual, and even the general work process. Both globally and how we can localize it to a different environment. I remain your host, Oluyemi Akifenwa, and we are talking to you from um, Studio of Digital Accountants. Uh, I've put some things down to look at, and which is going to help us in one way or the other. Also, going to help us to prepare. I hope you are staying safe, washing your hand regularly, and using hand sanitizer in case you go out and there is no water. Just keep it handy, and we believe very soon this shall also pass. Um, we'll first of all look at the impacts of this COVID-19. It's new to everybody in the world, even to the so-called developed world, developing nations, and even the underdeveloped. Everybody is looking for one way or the other to solve it, and it came as a shock. In fact, it's a rude shock on government, on business, and we're going to look at what we need to do after assessing the impact. Then we look at what we need to do as a business, as a person, and even as a people generally. First of all, definitely the COVID-19 is going to have general impact on productivity of the nation, productivity of even the business. Do you understand? So, and what are the area of course, when people are not going to work, production is shut down, or whether you are into construction, nobody is producing. When you're staff, let's even assume you have the production machine, the staff are not available, or you even have the staff available, then um, the raw material you are importing or transporting from one location to the other, everything is stranded because everybody is on compulsory holiday just to curb the spread of this COVID-19. Definitely, what if you are producing 100,000 per day before, definitely is either is reduced to zero now if there's no production going on at all, or is reduced drastically. So definitely business productivity will be impacted. And because business productivity is impacted, that's partly going to affect sales, and also likely people to buy the items are even scrambling for the essential item like food, water, and clothing now, and even the shelter. So, and that's why. Ooh, that's me. What do you want now? So let me finish my video, please. So, and like I said, it's going to impact, globally. It's going to impact the productivity. And after productivity impacted, definitely there's no item in the market, uh, and even the ones you have before. Let's even say. So I'm talking about the sales impact now. The one you have produced before is also going to affect your sales because people that are coming to buy it are restricted from moving from one place to the other. And if at all they are going out, they must prove that they are going to buy essential item, not the non-essential item. So basically, the people that will benefit a little bit, but it's not really going to even increase their sales because a lot of people will even go into that business. So the market share that you are enjoying as a food seller now has been distributed between additional emergency food sellers in the area. I've talked about the productivity impact, and I just finished about the sales decline, how the productivity impact affect the sales decline, how the productivity impact affect the sales decline, the impact on sales, and how also the movement restriction also affect your sales, whether you are into non-essential or food. The other thing that will be affected, which is also coming from that same chain, is the liquidity. If you are not selling, definitely liquidity will be impacted. Because you don't have more cash that will be coming in, your cash generation is as a result of how much sales you have made. So definitely that's going to be impacted, and then you need to really, this is where your cash flow management skill has to be put in place, and you have to really forecast into the future and see how you can. But we'll talk more about managing that in the future, in the subsequent lecture. How you're going to uh, definitely um, really manage what you have on ground, and then cut down the cost based on the liquidity position. Liquidity basically, in summary, is about your cash or near cash item, what you can quickly convert to cash, then what you're using in generating them, basically coming from sales, from inflow, from whether you're an investor and the rest of it. Then other thing that will be affected will be new staff, definitely, whether during or after. Even I imagine companies that are scheduling interview now, definitely they can't go on. So it's going to affect the recruitment of staff. And after the whole pandemic thing, I'm very sure there will be a lot of scarcity and impact in that area in terms of even individually, some will lose their job, definitely, while some will gain. While the company that want to recruit, it will be very difficult because of uh, uh, the high demand and the rush for those brilliant sharp in the industry. The other thing that will be affected, obviously, because of the movement restriction and social distancing and the rest of it, is the logistics and supply. For example, if you are a manufacturing company and importing from China, obviously you are going to have an impact. Your business is going to have an impact one way or the other. Definitely, yeah, that on its own, because I'm an accountant, there's an IFRS impact of that because it's going to affect your business, the lead time, the conversion period of your raw material to finished good, and the rest of it. What you are expecting is not coming in. Every company is closing their border. Let's even not say it's China now. Let's even say Italy or even the US. So every country, because one way or the other, want to curb the spread. Um, we're shutting down our borders, and definitely this is going to affect business, and it's going to affect the logistic even within Nigerian location. Especially if you are not into essential uh, items like medical items, like food. Uh, I believe, well, basically they mentioned shelter is part of it. I believe shelter is also essential because you can't stay under the rain and sun, especially when you have the money to afford it. So it's also essential because you have to have a roof under your head, and then you also have to clothe your body. But then, if you want to rank essential inside essential now, we will take food first, then your health, which is your medical. Um, so I've talked about productivity impact, I've talked about sales impact of this, and I've also talked about the resultant effect of that on the liquidity position of your firm, of your individual, even individual, because you're not working. Some companies, some individual, if they don't go out in a day, they can't make. So their liquidity is already affected as individual or as a family. I also mentioned about the impact on new staff, recruitment or recruitment process and the rest of it. Logistics. One thing I didn't put down, which just came to mind now, is impact on business process. Definitely, a whole business process will be impacted now, especially people that deal with paper in one way or the other, move from one office to the other. I imagine our government in the country will be doing it now. People from um, developing nations, and then where you have to move paper from one place to the other, where there's no record of it online. I believe this is an advantage for the ICT company to do. I've always been shouting paperless office, and this is the time to really implement what we call paperless office, where you can access whatever in your office online. And of course, security, yes, you have to secure. You have to secure it. So as you are building it, you have to build security with it. Not be, you can't say there's no security or because of that you won't build what will make life easier. There are some companies that have already prepared themselves, and but although there are very few in Nigeria, and that build their capacity up to handle something like this. But how many of them really? Maybe the likes of people that are doing sales, online sales, and the rest of them. Now, having mentioned the impact on every segment of the business and some individual, we also need to mention the impact on government. Government will definitely be impacted. I'm restricting this video to COVID-19, that's coronavirus pandemic now. Even the impact of uh, oil price, global oil price will also affect, will also show on the planning of the government, especially government that plan at very high per barrel rates of crude oil. Now that this is going downward, it's definitely going to affect. It's definitely going to affect the business in one way or the other, and it's going to affect the country and the planning in one way or the other. Where for a country where they steal money, where is reduce the money where they are going to be stealing, because what they have padded now will now become a reality that need to be spent on people, except they want to be wicked. Anyway, that's that about that. So let's limit our scope for now to COVID-19. We're not talking about crude oil price and that on its own is going to affect. Already it's causing global recession on its own. But then let's talk about this unseen virus that is keeping everybody at home. Unseen or seen in a very tiny or with micro or telescope or what they call it, this medical whatever they use. But then it's very tiny. We are not seeing it. They just say we should be washing hands and we're doing that, which we need to. And before we pass it through the nose, the mouth, or the eye. I can tell you, maybe before I finish this video, I might even have touched one or two because it's just part of us. Just part of us. Even you washing me, I'm very sure you can do that. It can be, except we want to be consciously now moving into a new way of life of ensuring that we don't do that. But I think it's just the way we are created. Consciously or unconsciously, we do that. So business is going to be government is going to be impacted apart from the crude oil, especially in Nigeria where we use crude oil majorly to plan our budget and the dollar impact on the global economy. So hopefully maybe China is taking over, but I don't want to join that argument. Now, aside from the global crude oil impact, restricting it to what we are talking about, which is the impact of COVID-19 on government. If business is not working, definitely the tax rate, the tax, the tax collection will also reduce. If you have not made 1 billion in a year, you can't charge your 30% or 20% or 25% on it. So if my sales has reduced, definitely what you are collecting from me is also going to reduce. If people that want to settle are sitting at home, and I'm also sitting at home, then definitely the VAT or sales tax you want to charge on it is not going to happen. So definitely this is going to affect the budgeted figure of government on tax, and of course the emergency spending that government will need to do for those government that genuinely spend on the masses, on the people, to really cushion the effect of this coronavirus pandemic on businesses and then on people. I think that talk generally about the impact. Now let's talk about the measures that I pen down that I believe it can help. Now, because the first one I will mention is what I call paperless office, or some other people call it working remotely from home. I think this is, I'm going to talk about a little bit after how this is going to be after the whole crisis. This is where the world is moving to now. Some employer don't think that. if you are not at work, then you're really working. So they need to really grow out of that now. Like some of my staff, I if you don't have any reason to come to the office, just deliver. That's what I need. Deliver. Well, if you like. I want to liken it to the action of salespeople. If a salesman is sleeping for Monday to Thursday, if by Friday he brings a very huge check to the company, nobody wants to know what he was doing since Monday. So, what summary? What matters is the result. So if I are given work to do, whether you work from home, work on top of a tree, or work underneath the water, so far you can produce the result. And then, of course, your health is very important. We also need to advise you on that. Then, so working from home is what is best now. Not just staying at home so that your company, your business will not be grounded. I can tell you, even companies that are not IT related, there are some things you can still do from home during this period, and that can still help. And that can, one way or the other, will not make you to have a total zero activity or non-activity at all. So, working remotely is one of the things that should be adopted as a measure against to cushion this effect, the impact on your business or on individual. This next thing is you have what we call Google Drive. You understand? Even Hotmail, Microsoft also make use of something like this, where several people can work on a file at a go. So the idea, I need to work on that file, somebody else will work on it. You can save time by where all of you can work on it at the same time. So work on same file from home. Of course, this will require internet, and I think internet. That's another thing that it can be shipped now. It can be made cheap now, or if it's cheaper already in your area, but it's another business that I'm looking at. That if somebody can go into it now, and you have the number, and then the game is a number. So if you can bring your price down, definitely you even do volume. That's that because most people need it now. So if you work on same file, which is more like working remotely, apart from the first one I mentioned, which is working remotely, you can have a Google Sheet, or if it's Excel, Google Sheet is the Microsoft Excel in Microsoft, and the Word, which is what they call documents in Google, and Microsoft Word in Bill Gates term. Yeah, you understand? Good. So you can work on same file, and you see people online working on that same file. You can even be asking questions and be typing, and even they'll be updating the document at the same time. So that's another thing that can be adopted to really manage this crisis. The other one is, which is a shock to most people. I'm very sure most companies didn't do this. Set up a crisis management committee, CMC. Most people might not do it. It's not really a crime because this is a chop, like I said. It's a big blow on everybody that didn't plan it. Only few companies that quickly wake up to this. Why some companies do it, they did something like this unknowingly, or without knowing what the time is called. They just set up some committee involving the HR, the HSC manager, that's health and safety manager, then and then maybe finance and some other people. But they, because they don't really understand, they might not really do into detail what they need to do. But then some things are done to really cushion the effect in terms of defining work process, and then what will be done by this crisis management committee is to implement a contingency plan and then make decision on major things that need to be done. In fact, if it needs to quickly reorganize the work process, business process that I mentioned that will be imparted in the first phase of this discussion, if they need to reorganize it as okay, you that normally take document physically to sign your ink signature on it, you can do it that through an email. Just have an internet and look through the organization and say, okay, how can we do it so that people will have social distancing, and who that need to come to the office will only come and we do it proper and sanitizing and or hand washing. And the people that need to work from home, we need to get them internet, get them stuff that equipment that they need to use. And instead of you physically sign anything, you can do that approval through an email. Let's ask for anything and let them send it to you. And they just change the whole work process generally. And this is another thing that and your work will be going on. Let me you'll be cashing in some money through your say instead of everything to be granted. The next one, which is I mentioned the working remotely. I mentioned working on same Google Sheet or Microsoft Office 365 document. And the third one, I mentioned crisis management committee that need to be set up. If you have not set it up as a company, set it up now and let them look into your process and see how things can be done, even during this crisis where people are staying home. Money can still be made. Why people are staying at home? Of course, yes. Of course, yes. I say yes. So and then the fourth one is the social responsibility. This time is an opportunity for companies to do their CSR, especially provide food for people that are in need of it, especially in your area, even your staff. You might think you need to be doing it to the outside. There are some of your staff that really need it. Maybe starting from your driver, even to the top officials. You don't know, which responsibility each of them might be facing that might not make them to really have enough during this period. So just do a general CSR to the community where you are, and you can see me touching my hand. Sorry, you know, may God, yeah, God will help us. So and well, of course I've sanitized my hand, I've washed my hand clearly. So and then just do the CSR in your community, in your area. Of course, this is going to appear in your financials because everybody saw what was happening, and then it's not really a crime to really help the needy, help the people in your area, help your community. Distribute hand sanitizer, do some hand washing stuff in the area. Just place it as strategic environment in the community where you are. Let them feel your impact, and that's your own contribution to help and save the world. Apart from praying to God that people will be doing. And the next one is, and by doing that, you don't know, what goes around. They say comes around. You are saving some people, which invariably they might come to your organization to buy or do one or two things. And if you have saved them by helping them to get things where they can wash their hand, sanitize their hands, definitely they won't be bringing any disease or virus close to your organization. And then the business budget need to be redrafted. In the process of checking the whole organizational process and redrafting, you definitely adjust the business budget and then you move on. And it has to be flexible. It can't be rigid and say, "Hey, I must make my 200 billion are budgeted." Things are happening and it has to be adjusted. Of course, you can take advantage of what's happening, not to not at the expense of other people, but also to your business. There are so many opportunities in every threat. I can tell you that. In every threat, there are so many opportunities. So definitely, some people are cashing out, making good money from this event, not people that are taking it for their at the expense of others. Then the other one is international and trade mechanism. So you have to look at how you make an international plan, the alternative. Okay, what do you have internationally that you're bringing, especially manufacturing company? Look inward. Are they not available in your country? So just look at that so that in case something like this happen, then you can know how to tackle that in the future. We don't pray, we don't expect this kind of thing to happen, but then make a proper plan. So, in measures to take to cushion the effect of the impact, I mentioned working remotely. I mentioned working on same file, whether Google Drive or Google Sheet or anything, even Microsoft Office 365. I mentioned crisis management committee to be set up to look into this and how things can be done remotely or even from office or at distance or even sanitizing. They can also discuss social responsibility, which is the fourth one I mentioned, and then business operational budget and the process adjustment. Then I also mentioned looking inward from international trade arrangements. What can you get inward instead of totally relying? You can get things from outside, but then have a plan B in case something happen. You can still be in production. Now, my advice to some CFOs in rounding up on how to manage the liquidity and to business owners, to finance managers, to companies directors and management as a whole is number one, you have to monitor the news very closely, because I can tell you the international community, the government within your country will be making some relief measure and policy available, which you have to take advantage of. Take advantage of it for your business, for your people, and for your environment. That's another thing you need to look out for, even during and after this whole pandemic is over. The second thing for this group of people, the CFOs, the managers, the business managers, even the HR, the company's directors, and the management. The second thing, apart from looking out for government relief and policies and take advantage of such, the next one could be loan offering. Definitely, there will be a lot of products coming from banks, financial institutions, and to cushion this effect, maybe after the whole of this process, because they also need some of these sales, they also need interest revenue, they also need, so they'll come up with some of things, and you have to negotiate your terms well and take advantage of that loan. Definitely, the approval of loan will be faster because they will not want the competitor to outsmart them. And then the other thing that's a little bit linked to that is your existing loan. How can you refinance it? Some will take over that to be able to. How can you refinance it? How can you structure it in such a way that with you have a better terms than what is so hard on the business before? And then, of course, the next one is you have to pursue your account receivable. Of course, people you want to go and run after to pursue, they're also in the same mess together. But then you still need to pursue. And you can structure it for them in such a way that you have liquidity and you also make the stress reduce for them. You make it a stress-free kind of repayment or debt collection method for them. Then the procurement plan. You don't. This is not the time where you buy and immediately rush into paying. Of course, I can tell you your suppliers will want to sell now. So definitely, any time payment time that is favorable also to them, they will want to accept. So use your cash for something reasonable. Use your cash for something that will generate more revenue. Use your cash for something that is prioritized as important. Then and then stretch your payment plan with your supplier. So your procurement plan has to be structured, and the payment plan arrangement has to be made in such a way that it does not stress your cash flow, like we normally say in financial terms. Now, the next one is reduce unnecessary traveling. I'm going to put that together with what I call cut costs, cost cutting, and the rest of it. So reduce unnecessary traveling. There are some traveling that are not business related, that the ordinary you can find alternative to. This generally, in terms of cost cutting and the rest of it, reduce. Look into each of your administrative expenses, each of your direct cost breakdown, and see what can you find alternative, a better alternative for that can help scale through. I'm envisaging maybe early next year or before middle of last year, before company can bounce back to where it was before, even bounce higher than where they are, but not something earlier, because some company we have to really pick up from the scratch again. So you have to look at those cost cutting techniques that will not compromise quality, and then go about uh, how you can go about ensuring that you have a reduced cost and you're targeting to increase your revenue. Revenue will pick up, but it's not immediate. It's not magic. It's not about a matter of prayer. Yeah, prayer can happen, but you have to start something first, and you also have to start with the process. Yes, so you have to, while you are monitoring the revenue to grow, you have to cut your costs as much as possible. Unnecessary traveling, reduce it, and reduce the cost. Reduce the cost as much as possible, so that you not have reduce the cost as much as possible, so that you not have high costs. Because there are some overhead costs, I can tell you, that whether you make revenue or you don't make revenue, you are going to incur them. So those ones that cannot be avoided, you have to ensure you know you drive your revenue in such a way that you meet up at least to break even during this period or make a minimal loss before. So in that case, there are some of your overhead, some of your admin expenses, some of your operational expenses that can really, you know, that you can really do without. So look into it in detail and go into detail. Like they say, the devil is in the detail. So to remove that devil or to deal with that devil, go into that detail. The next one is intercompany borrowing. Some companies have some sister companies that are owned by the same person or the same group of persons. You can do some borrowing from the other companies. This is very cheap that compared to getting loan from bank. Instead of getting loan from bank, and this is going to be cheap because you are getting it from within the same company own businesses. So get some intercompany borrowings to assist you and to help you. And I can tell you, you can use that to really move to the next stage after the whole of this process of this pandemic, after the pandemic is over. And last but not the least is a stringent and very strong internal control has to be put in place. Of course, especially when you are in the part of the world where some of your employees or some of even the customers, suppliers are to take want to take advantage at your own expense. You have to put some internal control. That's where internal control really work. And then you also have to have a policing approach where a certain thing we know how it's done, definitely. So you can really see us as digital accountant and associate. We can tell you on what to do and where you need to really ensure that your internal control staff ensuring that they put some measure in place to control the cost and then some of the things that you want to do to really drive revenue and reduce costs during this period, while everything will bounce back to normal after the thing, after the business or the economy is sustained. Don't forget, take advantage of government and even the tax relief. All this come with government, the tax relief and the rest of it, and then I can understand the President Muhammadu Buhari also said if you have a loan for microfinance from microfinance company or for business sake, you can ask for repayment. I think you can take advantage of that and some other things that really will be put in place and take advantage of some of the government. Just put the ears down, monitor the news and ensure that you take advantage of everything that come out of it and even the stimulus package the CBN, Bank of Industry are putting out to really help industry, really if you're in the manufacturing or the retail sector, you can take advantage of some of these things. Then I also know loan offering products with fast approval from bank will be coming out. I can tell you that to really assist business and then also look at how you can refinance existing loan, stretch the one, restructure the ones you have so that you won't stress your cash flow when the resumption take place or even during this period of staying at home. So account receivable pursue it and then make sure you use out the plan for your customer to be in business and for you also to be able to have some cash flow. And at the same time, you have to you have to at the same time you have to uh, um, uh, have some intercompany borrowings if you have access to that. If you don't, you use the other options that will reduce unnecessary spendings, traveling, just transport costs, even when it comes to taking some hard decisions on staff that you feel that are redundant, you can then you can, but it's just business survival. And when that's done, you can ask to take them back. But then business has to survive for the benefit of majority, not for the few ones that can eventually affect it in the long run. Then internal control measure. With this, I think I've been able to cover how you can take care of your liquidity. I mentioned the loan liquidity, I mentioned it in the impact analysis. Sales, I mentioned it in the impact analysis. And for you to continue to have your sales, instead of it to be zero sales during this period, adopt working remotely. And I also mentioned liquidity. You can do that by putting the ears on the ground, monitoring the news for relief, for new products from banks, and ensuring you have at least little sales even during this period. And also, and I think I've mentioned even procurement plan so that you don't stress your cash flow, you don't stress so many things and every other thing. I think this is the part one of this video. In the part two of this impact analysis, hopefully, maybe immediately the whole work resume back to normal or even before, we'll bring you another one from the stable of digital accountants and associates. Until then, I remain your host, Oluyemi Akifewa. Bye for now.